Ghosts are dicks. Welcome to the video. Before we begin, if not already, please take a moment to subscribe. It helps out the channel a lot. And click the bell icon to receive notifications when I upload. Comment your little heart out. And most of all, please enjoy. Now back to the video. Not all American remakes of Japanese movies fail. When handled with care and respect for the source material, remakes can be as successful and as well received by both critics and audiences. And certainly, not the cashing on a fad. That would be baka. But if the Japanese movies are so great, why remake them at all? That's kind of the eternal question. It does introduce audiences to movies they would otherwise never know exist. But if the movie is inferior, or at worst, a dull imitation, it may kill off interest in the original before it even gets off the ground. This is The Grudge. Alright, back to this thing. When someone dies in the grip of a powerful rage, a curse is born. I'm pretty sure that was Winston Churchill. In a nutshell, if you set foot on a cursed place, that's your ass. We open with Peter, played by Bill Pullman, as he's waking up and looking pretty messed up. To be fair, this is how I look in the mirror every morning. He's on his balcony, looking out at Tokyo, and it's a nice view, because this is an American remake and the original Japanese version took place in Tokyo. That's the filmmakers respecting the source material. He looks at the woman lying in his bed, and then he jumps. Banzai! You can't help but feel a little rejected. Of course, this being Japan, I bet that street is spotless by lunch. Yoko, a care worker, arrives at the house and cares for a dementia-ridden Emma. Her daughter isn't home, and it's weird that they would leave Emma alone. She's a full-service care worker, and she takes care of the elderly, she cleans, and then she investigates weird noises in the attic. Don't do it. It might be a homeless guy living up in the attic. Haven't you seen Parasite? I know this is Japan and that was Korea, but it happens all over. There's even a show about it. And she just gets yanked up into the attic?
Say, that's a nice job.
Previously on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Sarah Michelle Gellar is Karen, an American exchange student living in Japan. Finding all kinds of reasons to have Americans in this movie, aren't they? Ugh, if I turn this one evil, I give up. She gets a new assignment to be a caregiver to... Yoko's not answering the phone and Emma needs care given. So she takes the long journey to the residence. Before Google Maps, people asked directions. She gets there and just lets herself in. Looks like she got here just in time. The place is a mess. Emma's in bad shape and needs cleaning, ... But when she goes upstairs to clean up, the closet from earlier is taped shut because nothing keeps out evil like duct tape. Kind of a shit job, actually. But she hears a cat trapped inside. She opens the door and finds a journal and a cat. And a creepy little boy named Toshio. On the surface, this looks like a horrible act of child abuse, but she doesn't know this little boy is a ghost. The journal has some juicy gossip about some horrible curse-building stuff. A housewife named Kayako was in love with Bill Pullman's character, and that stopped at mild obsession. If this was more current, she would have just stalked him on Facebook, and that would have been the end of it. Her husband was the jealous type, so he kills her, their son Toshio, and their cat. Even the cat? Emma's not looking so great either. Kayako comes for her. Kayako's the woman who was killed. And Karen's just unlucky to be there. We get a flashback of this family moving in. The realtor trying to score finds the tub clogged, so he tries to deal with it right then and there. Tubs in Japan are so deep. But I think he found the clog. If I had a nickel for every wad of hair I've pulled out of drains. The family moves in.
What are you doing here?
Well, Emma's gone, and Karen is out of a job, I guess. The cops arrive, but what are they gonna do? APB on Casper? They find the couple, and something else. A jawbone. Do the Japanese have a tooth fairy? Karen wakes up in the hospital. Everything seems okay now. Movie's not already over, is it? A cop interviews her about what she saw.
And there was a book.
Did it belong to the boy?
I think it belonged to a woman. The writing looked feminine.
The O's were little vaginas. The little boy was a ghost, but nobody is saying that out loud. Remember Matt, the guy who was killed in the house? This is his sister, Susan. Hard to believe in an office building in Japan, and this is the only person working late. I've heard stories. She also is marked for grudging. It starts with the ghost calling her from Matt's cell phone. I'm not sure how that works.
Matthew?
All right, I'll go back to work. She finally leaves the building and goes home. I'm pretty sure ghosts can't hail cabs. She makes it back home, and I love stuff like this, where there are things the audience sees, but the on-screen characters are totally oblivious. She's home, she's safe. We still do this, even as adults. If the monsters can't see us, we're safe, right? But it doesn't work for adults, does it? My sign now. Karen is out of the hospital, but she's still kind of out of it. Like I said, ghosts are dicks. She takes a nice PG-13 shower, but ghosts don't have boundaries. Remember that caregiver who flew up into the crawl space? The one missing the jawbone? Well, they found her missing the jawbone. Ah, damn girl, what'd that tongue do? Let's make Karen's research much more exciting. She confirms what we already know: jealous hubby kills wife and child, and cat. Which they left out of the headline. She starts connecting the dots. Get up, cowboy. We f***ing. Karen goes to talk to Bill Pullman's wife because she thinks they're connected.
And why would he throw himself out a window?
Well, technically it was over a railing, but that's just being nitpicky. She shows Karen their bedroom, which is kind of weird. We made love, then he jumped. I don't know what I did. Not sure how to help, she gives Karen this big box of clues.
This is from our first date.
Aw, you went as Waldo and he found you. It wasn't Halloween. She looks through some pictures and notices that Kayako, the ghost, has been obsessively stalking Bill Pullman. And I mean obsessively.
I always feel like somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream?
You know, I bet it was that Independence Day speech.
Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
Sploosh. We get more in a flashback. Kayako's been sending him love letters. He probably can't read Japanese. He goes to the house, but after the murders. He goes inside, finds the little boy. He's the ghost. And the place is a mess. Did I mention the little boy's a ghost? Aaron gets the last pieces from the cop, who just reiterates the opening title card. Some of his own co-workers were investigating Kyaku's murder, and they died because of the curse. I'm glad we didn't just get another flashback. But he decides to end this once and for all. He goes to the house with gasoline, but before he can make the arson, Karen comes home and discovers Doug went through her stash and is going to the house to find her, which would curse him as well. So she gets in some cardio rather than take a taxi. But she's too late. Welcome to the club, Doug. Karen gets there and we get one of those walking flashbacks. You know, where the character on screen suddenly finds themselves in the flashback itself. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I miss the flashback ripple, don't you? He finds a pile of photos with Kyaku's face cut out and the infamous journal. Would it be rude to read it? Nah, read it. Kayako might have been a little unhinged. And for the record, his name is Peter. She's not begging for dick. This flashback is weird. Peter comes face to face with Kyaku. And he just nopes it out of there. To conclude the flashback, Karen watches the reenactment of how Kyaku's husband lost his cool and killed her. In return, her ghost tagged him back. Even Junior got in on it. Why was she here to begin with? Oh yeah, to keep this dumbass out. Another flashback, picking up right after the husband killing Kyaku, and this one is super grainy, trying to soften the fact this guy murdered his child and their cat. Kyaku appears on the stairs doing this really creepy move, which I don't know why the big show. She could fly before and appear wherever she wanted, but we want to get theatrical. It's the finale. Bye, Doug. Doug's foreshadowed lighter, plus the cop's gasoline. You know where this is going. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. I said, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. I don't know how she's gonna get out of this. I find it gutsy when a horror movie kills off the lead. It pays off the stakes to the ultimate conclusion, and it makes everything that happened previously matter. It adds so much weight to the ending and really makes you think, oh, damn it, you cowards. Well, at best, she's going down for arson. At worst, the arson did nothing.
I loved you on Buffy.
That was The Grudge. Like The Ring, Pulse, and One Missed Call, Japanese movie remakes have mixed reactions from audiences when compared to the originals. There is a fine line to balance honoring the source material, bringing something new, and making it appealing to wider audiences. Keeping The Grudge in Japan? Good move. Replacing all the leads with shoehorned American actors? Fish out of water stories are best when there are less fish. That said, Sarah Michelle Gellar is a little passive, a little underacted. Her stoicism felt more like Buffy than a normal woman in her position. I mean, something like this, I would have been screaming like a banshee. The film's strength lies in its eerie and unsettling atmosphere. The imagery adds a layer of dread that hangs over the entire movie. The original, Ju-on the Grudge, is built on Japanese culture and folklore, ghost stories that frighten the local children, and that would have been much more effective to a Japanese audience. When The Grudge adapts a story to an American setting, it takes a more Western approach, and its tropes are showing. The backstory is chopped up into so many odd flashbacks and exposition, it feels like the same stories are retold a couple of times in the movie. The pacing can be slow, and some of the shock moments felt inserted just to keep things moving. The finale is all over the place, and random stuff just thrown around just to bring things to a crescendo that just doesn't work. The Grudge is 2.5 Bs. Stick with the original Ju-on. Subtitles ain't that bad. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, comment the bell. You know, the usual YouTube stuff. This is theNewBee, and I'll see you later, kids. Toodles!
Thank you.